Welcome to today's show. I am your host, Eric Darnley Small. Thank you very much for joining me on What You Missed. If you like the content that you see here today, please think about liking and subscribing and clicking that bell so that you'll be notified of new content. Anyone who's visited this channel before knows that I put up content. I'm putting up content now once a week. More will be coming over time. But as that stuff begins, as I begin to find new content to put up, there'll be more frequent videos. I used to do a live show. I no longer do the live show. As of now, it is suspended. But the point of this channel is to focus in on stories that you may have missed, because as you may, if you've come to this channel, one of the things you may have recognized is that the news is filled with Donald Trump and the madness leading up to the presidential election. And it is consumed with Donald Trump and the presidential election. I contend that there is more going on in the country that is being talked about. But if you are merely watching CNN, MSNBC, even Fox News, or some of these others, you're missing out on a whole lot of conversation, a whole lot of information, a whole lot of news. A lot of that is going to be focused on in this channel in the entertainment industry, the tech sector, the economy, and in business, as well as in politics. And what you should know about this channel is what I'll do is I will read directly from stories that I find fascinating and interesting, things that interest me, things that I think that anyone here that's on this channel watching may enjoy and may like and may see as something new and different. You will find all of the material that I reference here on our Mastodon page. That is mastodon.vtip.me/@ what you missed. What you missed is one word. All of the links that I link to, all of the stories that I link to will be there. And my hope is also on the Mastodon page, you can reach out to the show. And if you have any questions or you have any suggestions or you think we should focus on something that I've missed, please reach out to me on the Mastodon. Okay? So on today's show, some good news. I think some very good news, actually. Surprisingly good news. Out of California. There's been a lot of, to some extent, bad news out of California. And by that, I mean that there is, news of crime, news of sort of California in a hellscape, this whole idea of homeless problem, the crime problem. I've talked about the details of that before, and there have been some shifts. The good news is that crime is down. Crime has gone down dramatically. And if you've been to this channel before, one of the things that you know that there were a proposition, there was a piece of legislation to address this. This apparently has happened before that legislation has had an opportunity to come in. So a couple of propositions to deal with some progressive decisions, progressive legislation that was pushed through that turned out to not be that great for the city of San Francisco. A lot of businesses leaving. You've got these encampments. But the good news is that things appear to be making a turn for California and specifically for the Bay Area. So that's going to be the focus of today's show. And let's get into it. Let's check out what we found out. So this is from the San Francisco Chronicle, and it says SF, meaning San Francisco, crime is plummeting with the exception of one affluent neighborhood. I love the term plummeting. It always is, one of these words that evokes probably more than it's meant to. Does a lot of work, in other words. San Francisco Chronicle, this was May 5th, yesterday, by Daniela Echeverra, and it says crime is down so far in 2024 in nearly every neighborhood in San Francisco, a Chronicle analysis found, but one neighborhood saw the opposite. So, the story begins. Reported crime has plummeted in San Francisco in the first 4 months of 2024. The number of reported crimes fell by 30%. Compared with the same time period in 2023. The most notable declines have been in property crimes, such as larceny theft. But not every neighborhood is experiencing the trend the same way. A Chronicle analysis of police data show that nearly every neighborhood in San Francisco saw less crime in the first 4 months of 2024 compared with the first 4 months of 2023, a trend consistent with a city and a nationwide decrease in both reported violent and reported property crimes through the end of 2023. As the map below shows, most neighborhoods saw reported crime fall somewhere between 10 and 50%. North Beach, the bustling, tourist-heavy neighborhood in the city's northeast corner, saw the largest reduction in crime, which fell by more than 50% in the first 4 months of 2024 compared to 2023. North Beach, which has a higher reported crime rate per capita than the city average, saw a 62% drop in larceny theft, which makes up the vast majority of crime in the area. Only Soma and Mission Bay saw larger drops in larceny theft with 69% and 64% respectively. Daniel Sauter, the former president of North Beach Neighbors, who is now running for the area's district supervisor, said that crime is a topic that comes up often in his conversations as he knocks on doors campaigning. While he said people generally feel that things are getting better, as the data indicates, residents, particularly more vulnerable populations like seniors, still aren't feeling completely comfortable. Quote, I think everybody is still cautiously optimistic. There's a feeling that things have been improving, but no one is satisfied yet or complacent that we can slip back into higher levels of crime. Other parts of the city saw also marked declines in crime. 11 of the 35 San Francisco neighborhoods with more than 500 people saw reported crime fall by 40% or more. That includes neighborhoods with high reported crime rates per capita, including North Beach, Japantown, the Financial District, and Soma. Neighborhoods with high numbers of tourists or commuters tend to have higher rates of property crime. The Mission, which in 2023 had the highest total number of reported crimes, has seen a 22% decline this year, with drop-offs in both burglaries and larceny theft, bringing overall reported crime numbers down. Other types of crime, including motor vehicle theft, assault, and battery, remain at similar levels. Violent crimes, which include homicides, assault, robbery, and rape, were also either down or steady in the majority of San Francisco neighborhoods. San Francisco's violent crime rate is already lower than many major cities, and property crimes make up the vast majority of reported crimes in the city. Overall declines in most neighborhoods are driven by large drop-offs in larceny theft, which is one of the most frequent crimes in the city. SFPD spokesperson Evan Sarnofsky pointed to an operation launched by the department last August involving bait cars and plainclothes officers. Just a few months after it began, the city's reported smash and grabs were cut in half. He also pointed to the department's crackdown on organized retail theft, aided by millions of dollars in state funds, which he noted has led to dozens of arrests. But one San Francisco neighborhood, No Valley, saw crime increase. No Valley, a quiet, charming residential area in the center of the city, experiences less crime overall than the city on average, but from January through April of this year, crime rose 15% compared to the same time in 2023. No Valley saw notable increases in burglaries and larceny theft, which includes car break-ins and makes up more than half of the reported crimes in No Valley. Larceny thefts, which rose by 23% in No Valley, have plummeted by almost 40% citywide. The number of stolen cars, by contrast, fell from 50 in the first months of 2023 to 35 the same period this year. The neighborhood experiences very little violent crime overall. There were no homicides reported for the first 4 months of 2023 or 2024, and the number of assaults and robberies stayed flat, with 4 or less reported in each category. So why is this important? Well, one of the reasons why it's important is you're not going to hear this reported on the major news outlets, right? Even the more quote unquote liberal ones, the mainstream ones, you're not going to hear talked about it because it's not interesting. Nobody reports on the planes that land. They always want to report on those planes that crash, right? That's just, if it bleeds, it leads. That's the old saying in publishing and in news. People want to talk about crisis. However, the fact of the matter is that crime is going down and has been going down under the Biden administration. Crime was up under Trump. Crime is going down under Biden. Under these progressive policies, it says citywide funds, new programs that were implemented by the police in these areas are all taking effect. They take time, but they are taking effect. This is in contrast to another reporting that I may do a story on later today or tomorrow, where Arizonians are feeling bad about the economy because the economy is doing so well. Cognitive dissonance, right? You are having these two opposing things at war with each other. That's one reason why people are not settled. People are longing for the Trump years, right? They think that the Trump years were great years. Well, somebody has to remind people how bad things are. A million people died. Donald Trump was golfing during COVID while people were dying. He was going out there telling, stuff that he heard on the internet or that he heard on Fox News, reporting it and telling people to do that. Right? And this harmed our overall health. People don't remember, we had no masks, had no toilet paper. We had nothing. We couldn't manufacture masks. We couldn't manufacture ventilators. Remember the ventilator problem? Apparently, a lot of that didn't happen in the South. Most of it happened in the North, in California, in blue cities, which is more densely populated. But the fact of the matter is, and I would normally say that this isn't the fault of the president. But I mean, let's be clear. If you're going to blame Joe Biden for the way things are, let's be clear. We have to blame Donald Trump for the stuff that he wasn't responsible for, but happened on his watch. And the fact of the matter is, COVID happened on his watch, whether it was his fault or not, and his response was outrageous. It was a total disaster. California suffered. New York suffered. California, I will grant you, due to some progressive policies, made some mistakes. I think those were right. They were in the right place, doing something about social justice, doing something about the over-incarceration of African Americans, doing something about the over-incarceration of people who are addicted to drugs, instead of treating drugs as a health epidemic, doing something about it and treating it as a mental health epidemic, instead of as something that you can just go in and rip people out of their homes, rip people out of their lives and throw them in jail, right? The progressive movement decided to try and address that, probably moved too fast before it could really, make sure that the ground was seeded, that things were in place. But their heart was in the right place, but they've reversed those things now. But even before that happened, parts of San Francisco were already healing. It's already beginning to show that San Francisco, even before this proposition, ENF, I think it was, that just passed just a month or so ago, San Francisco was on the mend, was on the way back. And this evidence shows it. And you're not going to hear the major news articles, and certainly not Fox News. I believe Fox News is probably going to run another story about how terrible California and San Francisco is and how crime has gone up. But we know, you and I know, that that's not true. And in fact, crime is going down in San Francisco. The policies are working. This is Joe Biden's economy. This is Joe Biden's America. And if you actually believe in America and believe in fighting for America, that's what it looks like. Thank you for joining me today, and you will see me on the next video. Hey there, fantastic viewers. Eric Darnley Small here, and I hope you're loving today's episode of What You Missed. You've reached the end of today's show, but don't worry, there's more show coming up. If you're watching this on YouTube, please click the bell so that you'll be notified when more content is available. You can also help the channel by clicking the like and subscribe buttons. It helps the YouTube algorithm find new viewers so that I can keep bringing you all this incredible content you enjoy. But wait, there are more ways to support the show. You can make a contribution through the show's PayPal, which goes a long way in helping produce even better content for you. And consider becoming a part of our growing community by joining our Mastodon site at mastodon.vtip.me/@whatyoumissed for more engaging discussions and exclusive updates. And here's something you won't want to miss. Mark your calendars for our live show streaming on YouTube and stream.vtip.me Monday mornings, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Your support means the world to me, and together we're making What You Missed the best it can be. Thanks for being a part of my journey.